hustle in a little bit over here. Good morning. Bring it in.
It's nice.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to the Mazda press conference today. We have some exciting things to talk about. First and foremost, we closed last month's sales up 35% nationally, year over year, and here in Miami, which is a very significant market for us, we're up almost 48%. So yes, we're on a roll. And also, 90% of our vehicles right now are built with the SkyActiv suite of technologies in them. And our two newest vehicles are what we're going to talk about today, which is the MX-5 Miata and the CX-3. And to kick things off, I'm going to ask Rod McLaughlin, who is the vehicle line manager for the MX-5, to say a few words.
Thank you. You guys can come on in. We don't bite. Come on, everyone's in the aisle. Come on in. Come on in. Let's do this, folks. All right, so my name's Rod McLaughlin. I'm the vehicle line manager for the all-new 2016 Mazda MX-5. And yes, we can say Miata. That's not taboo. We're still allowed to say that. At this point, we're all very familiar with kind of the basic stats of the MX-5. 2,332 pounds, about 155 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 5.9 or 6 seconds, depending on which third party you're quoting. And highway MPG up to 36 MPG. But the numbers don't tell the whole story, because the MX-5's never been just about the numbers. The MX-5 has been more about a lightweight, affordable roadster that's fun to drive. This is the essence of this car. You cannot rely just on the numbers. It's all about how do you feel when you're in the car and when you're driving it. Now, how do you take a philosophy like that and turn that into something that engineers can actually concretely turn into a car like this? Well, that's where Kansei engineering comes into play. Kansei engineering is basically a philosophy that says numerical measures are not as important as emotional values like fun and beauty. Kansei engineering basically says 0 to 60 is not as fun as how the car makes you feel. Now, to prove a point about the numbers not telling the whole story, if I was here today launching a car with these numbers, 1.6 liter engine, 116 horsepower, 100 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in just under 9 seconds, how many people would think this is a really fun car to drive? Anyone? A couple of brave people. But most of you said, probably not. Might be a big segment, a B segment competitor. But in fact, those are the numbers behind the very first MX-5, which is a car that's proven to be over time one of the most enjoyable cars to drive in automotive history. So this just brings home the point that the numbers don't tell the full story. So how do we turn that into, sorry about that, engineering principles? So this is the way the car has been, and this is the way the car always will be built. So front engine, rear drive. Why front engine, rear drive? Because front engine, front drive is not enjoyable enough for really skilled drivers. Mid-engine, rear drive is kind of awkward and intimidating for novice drivers. So we've gone with a front inship, rear drive. Lightweight, that's for flexibility and maneuverability of the car. Removable roof, basically to connect you to the world around you. The more time you spend with the roof down, the more you're going to enjoy driving this car. Compliant suspension, a lot of people when they drive the MX-5 for the first time, they're kind of surprised by how compliant the suspension is. They feel it's a little soft. But we do that intentionally because we want that to provide feedback to your inputs. If the car is sprung too stiffly, you're not getting that feedback. So we want to give you that feedback for everything you do. So gradual as well as dramatic inputs, we want you to get that feedback. The double wishbone suspension makes sure you still keep grip during that body roll. And a power plant frame, that basically connects the transmission to the differential, giving the car that rigid spine so you can tune the engine for performance. Now, when your goal is to make a car that is fun to drive above all else, driver seating position is very, very important. So we started with the driver seating position first and foremost. That means the gauges have to be right on, the seating position, the steering wheel, the pedals, everything. If you've been in this business long enough, I'm sure most people here have sat in a car and reached for the wheel and realized that it's just a little bit off to the left or the right. So that's when a manufacturer builds a car and the seating position is an afterthought. We started with the seating position and built everything else around the driver. What we've also done is changed some things ergonomically to increase the comfort level and the space inside the car. So now there's more room at the head space because the support beam in the roof is now moved forward. So there's just cloth above your head. We've also adjusted the tilt angle of the steering wheel and reduced the diameter of the steering wheel, so there's more leg room. Also, we have a new seat design that doesn't have springs anymore. There's no more metal springs in the seat. So if you get an opportunity, come over, feel the seat. You can feel in the back. It's very thin, very light. And this material allows it to cradle any type of body shape. And it also provides a thinner seat back, so we get one more ratchet so that taller people can fit in this car. I'm 6'2", and I actually drive this car, and I fit in it perfectly well. Now, as I said, we really, really believe that the more time you spend driving this car with the top down, the more you're going to enjoy it. I mean, it is a convertible after all. So what we wanted to do is make the roof as easy as possible to take down and to put back up. And that means we have a single latch mechanism. So when you're sitting in the car, you basically have one latch, pull it back, and you can open the roof in about 5 seconds. Same thing for when you're closing it. You basically pull the release, and the spring allows the roof to come up a little bit so it's easier to reach and pull over and close. And again, with that single latch, you can close it in about 5 seconds. That means at a stoplight, on a freeway on-ramp, if there's impending rain, whatever the circumstances is, a short drive just down the street, there's no excuse not to take the top down and have the full drive easily. Now, we've made this car smaller and lighter than the previous generation. So it's about 4 inches shorter than the third gen. We're bringing the weight lower for the better center of gravity, so the engine is pulled back and lowered. And the lower engine position allows us to lower the seating position of the driver as well. Most of the weight and most of the length has been taken off the front and rear overhangs, because for real maneuverability, we want the weight as close to the center as possible. I talk a lot about how this car compares to the third generation. But in terms of from a weight standpoint, this car is only 1 pound heavier than the first generation MX-5 with a 1.8 liter engine. So we really trimmed it back to get back to that original dimension of the first car. Now, how do you do that? How do you shave off 150 pounds from a car? Well, the first step is to use the aluminum. Here on the screen, you can see in red the amount of components that are made of aluminum on the third generation car. In yellow, these are the incremental components that are made of aluminum on the fourth generation car. So coke is used of aluminum, but aluminum's not going to get you to 150 pounds alone. So we've got body structure, that weight reduction, the engine, the transmission, the suspension, the power plant frame, everything. We've looked at every component on the car to find ways of bringing that weight down. It's really important for the life of the car, the more maneuverability, the more fun it is to drive. This is just some comparisons of the fourth generation to the third generation. So, of course, this is a sky-active model. CX-3 is, the Mazda 6, and pretty much most of the cars out here. Did shave up 150 pounds from the third generation car. There's more legroom, more headroom than the previous generation car. It's faster, up to a second faster than the previous gen, yet significantly higher MPG. So a 22% improvement in city and 20% improvement in highway MPG, despite the fact that it's a faster car. And from a grade structure, this is a sport trim level that we're looking at. There's a club over there in ceramic. There's a GT out in the center, topless Miami display. So the sport has always been our entry-level model, MSRP below $25,000. The car before it had to be upgraded, so there's things that you expect a modern car to have, like daytime running lights, USB, Bluetooth, but we've also added some features that are unique in a car at this price. LED headlights specifically. Not only do they provide superior illumination, but because of the compact design, it allows our designers to create a shorter front overhang and have a lot more flexibility when they're designing. Now with the Club and the GT, we've taken on a different strategic tack for this particular model year. In the past, Mazda's always had kind of a good, better, best products lineup. So we have, even with the CX-3, we have the Sport, the Touring, and then the GT. what we've wanted to do now is kind of customize the GT and the Club to match the different characteristics of different driver preferences. So the Club over there is going to be more aggressive looking. It's going to have the suspension package, the Bilsteins, limited slip differential, more aggressive looking air dam, rear lip spoiler, and it's just going to be something that appeals to the person who wants that sportier car. The GT, on the other hand, in the center display, is going to be more luxurious. It's going to have leather, it's going to have navigation, and it's going to have our active safety features like blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, adaptive front lighting, and high beam control. So that way you can walk into a showroom and say, I either want the more luxurious GT or I want the more performance-oriented Club model. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dan, who's going to show you a little bit about the CX-3.
Thank you, Rod. Good morning and welcome, everyone. I'm Dan Kelvin. I'm the vehicle engineer for the all-new CX-3. You know, at Mazda, we have a brand philosophy that we call Hishiro Yorokobi, which translates to the joy of driving. And from this, we've developed a guiding principle of why we build cars. And it's focused on the concept when you drive a Mazda, it puts a smile on your face, which in turn makes your everyday life a little bit more enjoyable. This is true for all of our products, from the iconic MX-5 to our all-new CX-3. So you may say, why the CX-3? Well, I think you can all test the fact that the subcompact CV segment is burgeoning in the U.S. marketplace. What started with the likes of Juke and Encore is set to explode with the addition of Trax at the end of 2014 and 4 new entries in 2015, including the all-new CX-3. This segment growth is being driven by consumers' desire for the ride height and visibility they get with CUV. They also want the versatility and the functionality of a hatchback, plus the added capability of the all-wheel drive. Smaller size makes it the perfect vehicle for navigating their congested urban environments. And then there's the low cost of ownership and the affordability, which is provided by the great fuel economy, and it's all offered at the price of a compact car. If we take a look at the segment, you can see it's going to project to more than double in 2015, and we'll continue to see exponential growth through 2017. We actually believe as the segment gains momentum, we could top 500,000 units by 2017, which is really quite impressive for a relatively new segment. So what does this mean for Mazda? Well, it's an all-new vehicle in an emerging segment, so we feel the CX-5 will quickly become one of our core models, providing opportunity for growth for 2015 and beyond. Of course, it expands our CUV portfolio, but more importantly, it brings a new consumer, it provides an entry point to our CUVs and also provides an introduction to the enjoyment of owning and driving a Mazda product. We also believe the CX-3 is going to provide the perfect feeder model to our already popular CX-5. So let's take a look at the CX-3. From a design perspective, the CX-3 marks an evolution of our Kodo or solo motion design philosophy. We made the CX-3 sharper, faster, and more intelligent expression in order to provide a more dynamic sense of movement than you find in some of our current vehicles. As you can see, the CX-3 is a great looking vehicle. It gives us a real powerful presence in the marketplace, and one that we feel not only is going to defy the category, but will actually set the benchmark for the styling in this category. The driving dynamics and the performance of the CX-3 are provided by our SkyActiv technology, which we first introduced in 2012 with the launch of the CX-5. SkyActiv technology is a holistic approach where all the parts of the vehicles work together as an efficient whole. And the CX-3 showcases all of these features. We have the SkyActiv body, engine, transmission, and of course the chassis. It all starts with our body. The body is extremely lightweight, yet it still provides a safe, rigid, and comfortable driving environment. Safety is of utmost importance, and we're targeting top crash ratings in all the markets, and we're doing this by providing some key components of our SkyActiv technology. There's our ring structure, which creates a protective cage around all the occupants, and then we have a, sensitive here. We have our straight frame construction and our multi-loop path, which take the impact loads through the vehicle and away from the consumers. One thing about Mazda is it's all about our driving dynamics, so weight is actually our enemy. We have something we call gram strategy, and it's all about saving as much weight from the vehicle as we can. And on the CX-3, our engineers did a great job of creating a very solid, strong body, but also very lightweight. And they did this by doing some increased bonding efficiencies, new stamping shapes, and by the use of high tensile steel. Our engineers really work the magic when it comes to the chassis. Like the body, it's very lightweight and rigid. The chassis gives a really direct steering feel, sure-footed handling, and excellent ride comfort. The best way to look at our chassis is to look at a perspective of you're driving, you give it input, the vehicle recognizes what your intentions are, it responds accordingly, and then it gives the desired feedback back to the driver, which is very important to have that comfortable and controlled situation that you need for spirited driving. Powertrain for the CX-3 is our Skyactiv G 2-liter engine. It has a very linear and dynamic performance. It has strong, usable torque, high fuel efficiency, and low CO2 emissions. Key highlights of this, we have the world's highest compression ratio at 13:1, and it also incorporates our specially designed 4-2-1 exhaust system and our volcanic piston cavity. As you can see from the screen, it delivers 146 pound-feet of torque and 146 horsepower. Our transmission is our Skyactiv Drive 6AT with manual mode and sport mode. It's a highly fuel-efficient transmission that has the feeling of a manual transmission. So it's very direct, responsive, and smooth. Probably one of the greatest benefits of this transmission is it delivers great fuel economy, and it's offered in a 6-speed automatic where most of our competitors are going to the CVT. And I think most of you will agree that for spirited and fun driving, a 6-speed automatic transmission is much more engaging than a CVT. Some of the key features about this transmission, we have the mechatronic module, and we also have our rev matching and manual mode. As I mentioned earlier, it does have the sport mode, which gives you a little bit more oomph when you want to do the more spirited driving or you want to merge on the freeway. Now, I mentioned fuel economy on the back slide, and actually the proof is in the pudding here. You can see on the front-wheel drive CX-3, we have class-leading fuel economy. We have city of 29 and highway at 35. On our all-wheel drive, we're also atop the leaderboard. This comes in at a 27 city and a 32 highway fuel economy. Again, at the top of the class. Speaking of all-wheel drive, the CX-3 does feature our new generation all-wheel drive system, which was first introduced in the CX-5. And it works in either dynamic or static condition. The most important thing to remember about this all-wheel drive system is it's very predictive in nature. So what's constantly doing is taking measurements to make sure it applies torque to the right wheels at the right time. What's pretty interesting about this is it takes about 200 measurements every second, which is really quite impressive. One thing where the CX-3 really stands out is our class-defining features and technology. We have features and technologies on this vehicle that you won't find in the class, and you won't even find on some more expensive vehicles. One of these such features is our active driving display. It's located right in the forward view for the driver so they can't take their eyes off the road, and it provides real-time driving data such as speed and directions. We also have a 7-inch touchscreen display, which is standard. It's located above the center stack on the dash, and it provides easy and safe viewing of your infotainment and communication information, so you don't have to take your eyes off the road. Again, we're one of the only manufacturers that offers the larger screen on every trim. A lot of the other manufacturers will offer the larger screen only on the higher trims. CX-3 also comes standard with the Mazda Connect smartphone connectivity system. So it makes it for easy internet access and connectivity while you're in transit. You can connect via the Bluetooth phone for the convenience of hands-free capabilities. Use AHA, apps like AHA for social media or internet radio, and then we have Mazda apps for maintenance reminder or fuel economy monitoring. CX-3 also has a standard HMI commander, which makes it very easy and intuitive to control your HMI system, and it's easy. Within 3 steps you can get from any place on the screen. It's very easy to use. An area where we really stand out in the CX-3 is our Active Sense safety features. We offer features on this car that you're not going to find in the class and also on more expensive vehicles. We have our crash mitigation systems. One is our Smart City Brake Support, which is a low-speed system that cooperates between 2 and 18 miles per hour. And then we have a Smart Brake Support system, which is 10 miles an hour or greater. We also have, for those cruises out on the open road, we have Mazda Radar Cruise Control and automatic high beam control. We also have a lane departure warning. So when you're driving along and you start to deviate from your lane, the car will let you know that you're moving from that lane. Probably 2 of the most popular features, and the ones I depend on the most, are we have the Smart Blind Spot Monitor and the Rear Cross Traffic Alert. And and they're exactly what they say. The blind spot monitor lets you know there's a vehicle in your blind spot, and the rear cross traffic alert is perfect for when you're backing out of a really tight space, and there's cars on either side, and it warns you there's a vehicle on either side. On our model lineup, we have three different trims. We have a Sport, a Touring, and a Grand Touring. The Sport is our entry vehicle that starts under $20,000. It's a very, very well-equipped car. It comes with 16-inch alloy wheels, a rear spoiler, as I mentioned earlier, the Mazda Connect system, the 7-inch full-color touchscreen, rear camera, air conditioning, power windows and door locks, cruise control, and push-button start. As we move to our mid-grade, which is our Touring, this is where you get our heated leatherette seats. It also has the advanced blind spot monitoring and the rear cross traffic alert. It also includes our Mazda advanced keyless entry system, where you don't have to take the keys out of your pocket. And then it has a very nice interior trim accents that you'll see on this vehicle up here on the GT, but it's also incorporated on the Touring. And then top of the line, for under $25,000, we have our Grand Touring trim. Very, very well equipped. This is where you get the 18-inch alloy wheels, leather seats with Lux Suede inserts, Bose audio, you get the whole array of LED lights, you get the adaptive front lighting system, you get the auto AC, paddle shifters, and the Bose audio. So with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us here today, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.